Part 33. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 321. Chapter 321 Saved. The sky was dark, and gray clouds shrouded the mountain tops, making it almost impossible to distinguish the sky or the ground. The air was filled with a pungent smell, and the icy cold wind seemed to seep into the bones of those who walked. The branches were rustled by the wind, and the sad sound struck everyone's heart. They had been too busy to stare at the clouds, but everyone could sense their approach. They were driven by a certain sense of urgency and moved quickly. Even those people like Husa didn't procrastinate and didn't think about running away. If you run away now, you are courting death. Lidahu was a little surprised when he saw a large crowd of people in front of him. Especially when he saw Song Moding and Zhang Xiaoxiao, but not Zhang Baokeng. The expression on his face was one of surprise, mixed with complicated sadness. At the same time, Zhang Xiaoxiao was hugged tightly by a figure that rushed over. "Damn girl, you scared my sister to death." Zhang Yu hugged Zhang Xiaoxiao hard, completely ignoring Zhang Xiaoxiao's weird dress and smell. Zhang Xiaoxiao opened her arms a little embarrassed, but did not dare to hug her sister. "My current appearance is indeed no better than a beggar." The whole farm was boiling. Unexpectedly, the forest farm on the mountain actually sent a rescue team. 20 people actually found Song Moding and Zhang Xiaoxiao. They were two living people. Many people ran outside the brigade headquarters where they were located and poked their heads through the windows. The sound of crying came from the room next to the brigade headquarters. Those were the family members of Zhang Baokeng's family. Zhang Baokeng is gone. Sooner or later, this matter cannot be hidden. The family members knew how miserable they were crying there. 8 poachers have been locked up in the house of the brigade headquarters. They are guarded by specialized personnel and the police station has been notified. Regarding the phone call from the brigade headquarters, I heard that the county has sent people. After all, poaching is a big deal. And there are 8 people. When you hear this, it is a big case. It hasn't snowed yet, and although the weather is bad, the police station is even more afraid that the road will be difficult to walk after heavy snowfall, so they hurriedly sent someone to pick up the person. Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding explained their affairs to everyone. Of course, they did not hide the fact that they found that the brake line was cut. After all, this was a big deal. Everyone was very angry when they heard about this incident, but after collecting all the clues, no one could tell who cut the brake line. Zhang Baokeng is gone, and just as Song Moding Zhang Xiaoxiao expected, this matter has become an unsolved case. The two of them saw Lu Hongmei in the crowd. Looking at Lu Hongmei's evasive expression, the two of them knew that it was most likely Fang Piashong who did this. They are here to inquire about information. Seeing that the two of them were not dead, I was probably a little worried. Fang Hongmei hurriedly returned home. After listening there for a long time, I finally understood that Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding had discovered that the brake line had been cut, but they had no evidence. In other words, no one can tell who cut the brake line of this tractor. My heart finally returned to my stomach. Fang Piashong must not let anything happen before Fang Piashong brings his wife back to the city. Fang Piashong must not let anything happen to him. Without Fang Piashong, how could that old woman Yehua still help get them back to the city? The only hope now is that Yehua's energy is strong enough. You can think of ways to bring Fang Piashong back. After all, everyone knows that the quota for returning to the city last year has been reduced. There are already people coming back to town, and there will definitely be more this year. Both of them were counting on this opportunity to return to the city. Fang Piashong asked Lu Hongmei humbly. "How about it?" Having been on tenterhooks all day, Fang Piashong was so frightened that his gallbladder almost burst when he heard that Song Moding and Zhang Xiaoxiao were back safely. "I am afraid that the police will break into my home and say they want to take him away." Lu Hongmei concealed her disdain. They didn't say anything. They said they found that the brake line was cut, but they didn't know who did it. There is also good news, that Zhang Baoken will not come back. Fang Piashong beamed with joy. What? Zhang Baoken can't come back. Is he dead? Great, my luck is so good. It seems that God is helping me. Okay, don't worry anymore. Fang Piashong fell on the Kong. He couldn't sleep at night or eat these days because he was worried that Zhang Baoken would suddenly show up. Now that Zhang Baoken is gone, no one knows what he has done. What else are you worried about? Even if Zhang Xiaoxiao has 3 heads and 6 arms, it cannot be proved that he did it. Roll around happily. It's snowing outside. There are more and more snowflakes in the sky, mixed with cold wind. Another heavy snow started to fall. Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others arrived at the county seat. Zhang Yu didn't mind it and brought Mr. Wang home. No way. This is my little lifesaver. Mr. Wang actually didn't want to come. He saved Zhang Xiaoxiao because he owed Zhang Xiaoxiao. Now it's a bit like repaying a favor with a favor. That's not what he meant. But Zhang Xiaoxiao refused, and neither did Zhang Yu. Qin Ming was even more unwilling. They were taken to the county town by a vehicle from the police station. This time the police station dispatched 3 vehicles to aid poachers. There are also witnesses like Zhang Xiaoxiao and others. After coming out of the police station, Zhang Xiaoxiao, Song Moding, and the old man returned to Zhang Yu's home. Zhang Yu had already tidied up the house and prepared meals for them. Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others first went to the bathhouse to take a bath. The old man changed his clothes. The clothes belonged to Qin Ming. A bit bigger, but clean. 3 people are now full of food and drink. Zhang Xiaoxiao fell asleep. I'm so exhausted that I haven't had a good sleep in the past few days. Mainly because I feel uneasy. Now that I'm back home, although my sleeping conditions have improved, sleepiness is becoming increasingly difficult to chase. Zhang Xiaoxiao became confused after tossing and turning. But any movement will wake you up. Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly woke up and found Song Moding shaking her with worried eyes. Xiaoxiao, Xiaoxiao, wake up. It's okay, Xiaoxiao, wake up. What's wrong? She asked drowsily, trying to hold herself up and staring at him in the dim light. The worry in Song Moding's eyes was obvious. What did he do to make him so worried? What happened? You're crying. I'm crying. Her hand brushed her wet cheek, and her hand was wet. Feel sorry. Then he fell down next to him with a thud. It's okay, she muttered in embarrassment. I do that sometimes. Crying in a dream, what are you dreaming about? Song Moding knew very well how strong a person Zhang Xiaoxiao was, and now he was actually crying in his sleep. He was annoyed that he had failed to protect her. The experiences these past few days have been like a nightmare. As far as I know, I didn't dream of anything. She shrugged, hoping to appear nonchalant. She dreamed about her previous life, and all the hard work was not painful, only seeing the pain of her loved ones was painful. She couldn't bear to see them leave her one by one. She didn't like to cry, and these tears for no reason were particularly annoying. The tears made her look vulnerable, and she hated that. She rolled away from him and lay with her head on her arms, looking into the darkness. Go on to sleep, it's okay. His warm hand slid across her back and rested on her waist. Sleep, I'm here and I'll never leave. Zhang Xiaoxiao leaned back and snuggled into his arms, looking for the long-lost warmth. A big hand reached into his clothes. The night is gentle and warm. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 322. Chapter 322 The Leader. The next day, Zhang Xiaoxiao and Zhang Yu discussed what to do with Mr. Wang. One cannot leave things alone. But how to manage it? Zhang Xiaoxiao thought it was not possible, so he took the old man to northern Beijing. The old man can't live on the streets anymore. Zhang Yu disagreed. Zhang Xiaoxiao was already married, and her husband's family would have objections if she brought an old man who was neither a relative nor an acquaintance to live at home. It's better to just stay at home, since the two of them have no burden anyway. It's okay to feed one more person. Zhang Xiaoxiao's novel is to think about it. The eldest sister is also taking the college entrance examination. If the eldest sister is also admitted to university, the old man cannot leave her as a drag. While eating, Mr. Wang ate, everything was normal. But Mr. Wang disappeared in the afternoon, leaving only a letter. He said that he had disturbed them for too long and that the old man had somewhere to go. He reassured them that he would go find his old comrades. Life is definitely no problem. Zhang Xiaoxiao and Zhang Yu were helpless. The old man is afraid of injuring them. But the world is so big, it's really not that easy to find someone. They can only secretly pray that the old man can really find his comrades and settle down his future life as he said in his letter. Otherwise, they will feel really guilty. Especially because they just learned from the old man yesterday that the old man's life experience was also very bumpy. The old man didn't want to talk too much about himself, but he could understand what he said in a few simple words. The old man has no relatives or children around him at all. To put it bluntly, he is alone. No wonder he is living on the streets. Although the old man's image and temperament, including his conversation, do not look like an ordinary old man. But since the old man didn't want to say anything, it was natural for them not to ask again. The most important thing is that the old man is very good at hiding things in his heart, and he is a person who knows his kindness without repaying it. Zhang Xiaoxiao was worried, but there was nothing he could do. We could only take Bai Yi and Song Moding to buy tickets and return to northern Beijing. There could be no further delay. Fan Qiuying became suspicious. 10 days ago, I should go back. This dragging for 10 days, there was no news, and her girlfriend and son-in-law had never even called, and there was no news. Can you prevent these two people from becoming suspicious? Fan Qiuying called Zhang Yu several times, but Zhang Yu fooled her all the time. But I can't keep fooling myself. The two of them bought sleeper tickets and got on the train directly with their children. Before leaving, Zhang Yu gave her sister $1,000. Don't refuse to accept it. This is the money your brother-in-law pays you. We will keep the money you gave us. You must also accept the money we should pay you back. This code is the same code. If you don't accept it, as a eldest sister, please don't call me in the future. Your eldest brother-in-law is almost too embarrassed to see you. I didn't see you, and I ran away as soon as I saw you. Zhang Xiaoxiao thought about it and realized that her brother-in-law seemed to be avoiding her these past 2 days. She hadn't figured out what was going on, so she reached out and put the money into her pocket. Since it's my money, I naturally want to accept it. If I don't accept it, that won't work. At that time, Xiao Song should say, this prodigal woman, how can she not accept the money that others bring to her door? Zhang Xiaoxiao was joking. No matter how prodigal you are, I can still afford it. Song Moding slowly came out from behind and took a meaningful look at Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiao is feeling guilty. You really can't talk about people behind their backs. Look, Cao arrived immediately and was caught. I can afford it, I can afford it. I'm just joking, don't take it seriously. You, please prepare me in front of my eldest sister. Hand out his hand, he twisted her little nose. Zhang Xiaoxiao ouched. Zhang Yu looked quickly and saw that there was no red at all. Zhang Xiaoxiao was laughing like a rat stealing oil. Zhang Yu, knowing that she had been deceived, slapped her the back. Girl, you are so old and you still play like this. Bai Yi couldn't give in at first sight. Protect Zhang Xiaoxiao. Sister Zhang Yu, even if I make a mistake, little sister, if you hit me, my skin is strong. It won't hurt at all, so don't hit little sister. This child suddenly flashed a pair of big eyes and looked so cute in front of Zhang Xiaoxiao. This caused Zhang Yu to laugh loudly and glared at Zhang Xiaoxiao to see how anxious the child was. This girl is also protected by others wherever she goes. Zhang Xiaoxiao touched Bai Yi's hair. Look at my loyal fans. What kind of fans? There are even vermicelli. This time, even Qin Ming, who escorted them to the train, was happy. Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others got on the train and waved. Finally leaving this land. Zhang Xiaoxiao knew she had to leave here and return to the city. There will never be anything that comes after. Bai Yi leaned in Zhang Xiaoxiao's arms. She still didn't understand what leaving meant. She just knew that she could be with her sister in the future. Bai Yi still relies heavily on Zhang Xiaoxiao. Beijing North Railway Station. Mr. Wang walked out of the station and saw his old friend in military uniform looking at him. Two people are facing each other and looking at each other. Then the old man opposite came up and the two hugged each other. You old boy, you are so easy to find. I have been looking for you for more than 10 years, and you are really good at hiding. Now you are finally willing to come back. Slap on Mr. Wang's back. Mr. Wang almost vomited blood. You are still the same as before. Your hands are so strong that you can't pay attention. Can my small body support you to take pictures like this? Oh, your body is so bad. You've lost so much weight. Let's go. I've been looking for you for so many years. I want to tell you the good news. I've rehabilitated you a long time ago. No matter how hard I look, I can't find you. You have no idea. The people I sent quickly searched the county, but they couldn't find you. You don't know where your kid is hiding. Kongs Hyman, if I don't want you to find me, you will never find me. What's going on with my rehabilitation? Mr. Wang really doesn't know that after being a beggar for so many years, he really knows nothing about everything. Come on, don't talk about it yet. Your house has been packed up for you. That house has always been there, and I didn't let anyone use it. I just waited for you to come back. I tell you, you know you will come back. The news circle was in shock. If I hadn't stopped you today, do you know how many people would have come to pick you up at the station? Kongs Hyming's heart surged when he saw his old friend. This old friend had really suffered a lot. I don't know how many people are looking for this friend of mine now. The country has used all its power, but still can't find this person. He really thought his old friend was not here. Who would have thought that one day, a strange phone call would come to him? When he heard that the surname was Wang, his heart was moved. The moment he received the call and heard the voice, he knew it was definitely his old friend Wang Jiaxiang. Wang Jiaxiang was implicated in those years. In fact, Lao Wang was a talent. Lao Wang was a top surgical expert. It was his experience of studying abroad that made him stained. In fact, Lao Wang is a leading figure in the Academy of Military Sciences. At that time, only Lao Wang could research something that even crooked nuts were greedy for. But who would have imagined that he would be tortured like that later because of his family members? With Lao Wang's qualifications, he is someone who would shock the upper echelons of the entire military industry if he stomped on him. His students are spread all over the country. Had he not been hiding from others, he should have been found long ago. As for his house, he is also his student, so he cleans it every day, so you can imagine how much his students respected him. Let's go back. I also want to take a look at the house I used to live in. Is it still the same as before? I miss home. I have been wandering outside for these years and have no home at all. I don't know if home is still the same as before. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 323. Chapter 323 Forgive You. A group of vehicles arrived in front of a small building. Wang Jiaxiang got out of the car and felt excited when he saw this two-story building. This is the starting point of his successful career. This is where he once had his glory, a happy home, his beloved children, and his beloved wife, but it is also here. All of his dreams were shattered, and all his love and affection were severed. There is a betrayal of him here, and it is really hard not to think of the past when seeing this. Love and hate are entangled, grudges. There were 2 rows of people standing neatly in front of the small building. The moment they saw Wang Jiaxiang, everyone bowed respectfully. Teacher, welcome home. In these 2 rows of people, there were old men with gray hair like him, some men who were almost middle-aged, and even a few young people in their 20s and 40s. Their eyes were eager and the expressions on their faces were so joyful. The heart is filled with admiration and respect for the old man. You are all here. Seeing these former students, my heart is full of thoughts. The children were sincere to him. Even in that era, when his relatives and his son severed ties with him, his students tried every means to protect him. Over the years, he has been disappointed with the world, despairing of everything, and even cut off contact with all his students. But when he saw them, he knew that these students had tried very hard to help him. During the years when he was sent to the countryside, these students almost took turns to visit him, help him carry things, and encourage him to live well. Even using all of his relatives and friends to protect him. It was just because he was desperate, and because of despair, he gave up a lot of things. Even gave up seeing them again. Seeing these students again, he could still feel their respect and admiration for him. These children are still the same as before. Teacher, all of us take turns taking care of your house, and it is cleaned every day to keep it as it was before. Nothing has been moved, and we even found all the books on your desk. Not a single copy was left behind. We are all waiting for you to come back, waiting for you to lead us to take a big step in military research, and to lead our military research career in Great Xia to the top. Niu Weiguo came up and helped the teacher, even though he was not much younger than the teacher. But this teacher once led him out of the confusion of the past, and once pointed him out, so that he could go further in his research. He has achieved his current achievements thanks to the help of the teacher. Seeing the teacher, he was filled with excitement. This is the die-hard fan of later generations. Thank you very much, thank you for helping me over the years. Wang Jiaxiang was surrounded by a group of students, and this feeling seemed to bring him back to the past. The earnest expectation in the student's eyes made him feel as if he had never left. Suddenly I felt that I had done something wrong for so many years, and I should not have given up on myself just because some people hurt me. If it weren't for that girl Zhang Xiaoxiao, if it weren't for these things that happened in the past, he might not be able to get over what happened back then. People can sometimes see others clearly, but not themselves. Now he suddenly felt that life was no big deal, all those betrayals and hurts. What is there that hasn't been experienced by anyone? But we should take a long-term view, be open-minded, and look at the larger world and the outside world with a tolerant eye. There are more people waiting for me, and more people love themselves more. There is still a lot that I can do. He is only 60 years old now. If he works harder, maybe he can work for another 10 or 20 years. Must cultivate more talents for the country's medical and military research undertakings, and leave all what they have learned to their descendants. This is what you should do, and you should not simply limit yourself to your own grievances, give up everything, and give up yourself. Teacher, it's great to have you back. All the students now have tears in their eyes, and many of them cried softly. For them, they have been looking forward to a teacher for so many years, and their search finally has a result. The teacher is still alive. In their minds, all the abilities the teacher has learned are beyond their reach. Now that the teacher is back, they can start their journey again, with someone to shine a light on, someone to show them the way. Dad. A title that makes everyone pause. The scene suddenly became quiet, and everyone turned around silently. But no one spoke. Who else is most qualified to speak at this time besides Wang Jiaxiang? Dad, you are back. Dad, I am Xiaowu. Dad, I am Xiao Xiao. The voices of a man and a woman made Wang Jiaxiang turn around silently. Although the voices had become unfamiliar, he knew that Xiao Yu and Xiao Xiao were the sons and daughters he loved most. Looking back, I saw a man and a woman in the distance, with two family members behind them. He walked directly in front of Wang Jiaxiang, and then the leading man and woman knelt down in front of Wang Jiaxiang with a plop. Dad, forgive us, forgive our ignorance at the time. We just felt that responding to the country's call would have such serious consequences. Dad, we were wrong. Dad. We were wrong, we were really wrong. For so many years, we have been looking for you, but we have never been able to find you. Now you are finally back. Please forgive us. We will definitely be filial to you in the future and make up for the injustice we did to you back then. The mistakes you made. The man was wearing a Chinese tunic suit and the woman was wearing a suit. One of them was holding Wang Jiaxiang's thigh and crying uncontrollably. There was a group of people behind him. Although these people did not kneel down, Wang Jiaxiang could tell. It should be the children, husband and wife of their two families. Everyone looked at him at a loss, with ardent hope in their eyes. There is still joy and joy, but Wang Jiaxiang has no waves in his heart. A person can no longer feel the warmth, and it is impossible to be moved. It's because he hasn't been with her for too long and is completely cold-hearted. It's also difficult for them. Okay, get up, I forgive you. At first I thought I would have to keep crying and even make more efforts to win back the old man's heart. Unexpectedly, the old man had already forgiven them as soon as they met. Those heartfelt confessions that were prepared, and those helpless moments, were all too late to be staged. The old man surrendered so easily. With surprise in their eyes, the two stood up, each holding the old man's arm. Dad, you really forgive us. Don't worry, we will treat you well in the future. We will take good care of you and make up for the mistakes we made back then. Dad, I will help you in. You have come such a long way, you deserve to be well rest. Pai Hua, hurry up and buy some food to cook for the old man. The old man likes to eat yam stewed with pork ribs. Dad, come in and let me give you a massage. I know that your back has been sore and painful all year round, and it must be more serious now. Don't worry, I will accompany you to the hospital for a special physical examination starting tomorrow. What are you doing? Fix the problem immediately. Wang Jiaxiang silently took his hand out of the hands of his two children. You go away and don't come back again. The tone is calm, without resentment or anger. Take the students to the house. Dad, what do you mean, have you forgiven us? Wang Xinyu and Wang Xingxiao were shocked. The father's words seemed to mean that he did not want to have anything to do with them, which was completely different from what they expected. The old man is alone. Now is not the time when he wants to have family happiness. How could he? I just said it very clearly, I forgive you, but forgiveness does not mean that everything is over. You have your own family now and live your own life well, but don't disturb me. I have become accustomed to living alone, to having no children or family. Therefore, from now on I will still live alone, without children or family. You have nothing to do with me. Our relationship is long gone and broken. Have you ever heard that poured water can be recovered? It's impossible to be so pure even if you take it back. When it's dirty, it's dirty. Can't go back. Wang Jiaxiang's decisive answer shocked the children to the spot. Go in with the students and old friend Lao Kang. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 324. Chapter 324 Physical Examination. Old Wang, I really didn't expect that you have changed so much now in the past, your temperament, your children, you were so pampered to the sky, and your wife, you were completely obedient. When you said that at the beginning today, I thought you were still the same as before. As long as others can easily admit their mistakes and ask for your forgiveness, you will immediately give up your position. I really didn't expect you to say what you said next. It seems that time can really change a person. Lao Kong patted his old friend's shoulder with his big hand, regardless of whether Wang Jiaxiang could bear it. He really didn't expect that his old friend's personality would change so much now. You're right, time can change a person. In the past, I was gentle and tolerant, and had no hostility towards anyone, even if others scolded me or caused me trouble. In the end, I would forgive others and consider others. But in these years, I have experienced too many things. Having been harmed a lot by others and suffered a lot, you will naturally understand everything. I have done enough of being a good person, and now I want to be myself, live a more comfortable life, and never want to change myself for others or force myself to accommodate others. There are not many good days to live, so let me follow my own heart for once. Wang Jiaxiang rubbed his shoulders, but what he said was powerless to refute. The students looked at each other with joy in their eyes. Of course they knew how much the teacher had suffered over the years. They were actually very worried about the teacher just now. One cannot say which of the two children is good and who is bad, but the two children are now in the institute. They can be considered scum. In order to make profits, they even do not hesitate to use their power for personal gain and have done too many bad things for money. It is regarded as bad moral conduct. Today, he suddenly came to the door, and several students were worried. They were afraid that the teacher would forgive easily, and they could guess it. The two sons and daughters of the teacher are probably doing it for the reputation of the teacher. With the teacher as the number one person in the institute, they can make a lot of money and do bad things if they are behind it. I really didn't expect that the teacher would change so much today. Teacher, we have made an appointment with a doctor for you and will take you for an overall health checkup tomorrow. You must take care of your body. You are much thinner now. We know that you like to be quiet, so don't worry, except for us. You have an aunt to cook 3 meals a day for you and clean the house. No one will ever bother you. There are special guards at your door responsible for your safety, which are specially assigned to you by your superiors. Make sure no one can disturb you. Forget it about the physical examination tomorrow. I want to go to the personnel bureau to go through the formalities for my rehabilitation and see what work has been arranged for me, so that I can start working earlier. I want to get back to work. I don't want to continue to rest like this. Seeing how lazy I am, I'm really afraid that all my friends will be useless. Wang Jiaxiang didn't feel there was anything wrong with his body. He himself found it strange. Even a few days ago, he felt that he was constantly suffering from minor ailments and always had the same old ailments. After all, the suffering he suffered in the countryside over the years was beyond what ordinary people could bear, and he suffered from many problems. First of all, he vomited blood and coughed constantly in winter, not to mention rheumatoid arthritis and various other problems. That day, when he came down from the mountain, he felt that his arthritis had already broken out. But who would have thought of taking the train back to Beijing, and I felt a lot more relaxed. He himself is also strange. Can't help but think of the time when he was eating at Zhang Yu's house, and Zhang Xiaoxiao poured medicinal wine for himself. It is said that this peach wine is made from their family's special secret recipe, which is specially designed to cure some old problems. At the time he didn't care, but the wine tasted good and he drank a few more glasses. Think about it now, could it be related to this? Teacher, don't let us worry. This physical examination is a must. We will send a car to pick you up tomorrow. If you don't go, we will have to pick you up. Your health is our wealth. All students are worried. Wang Jiaxiang had no choice but to nod. What can we do? Early the next morning, a car immediately picked him up and took him directly to the largest hospital in northern Beijing. When they arrived, all the leaders in the hospital, including the dean, directors, and experts, went out to greet them personally. You must know that in terms of seniority, Wang Jiaxiang is a key figure that the superior leaders pay attention to. According to his rank, Mr. Wang is a proper elder. How many students are leaders of various research institutes, universities, and even health bureaus? The legendary national treasure level expert appears, and you don't see who are the people accompanying him. The president of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the director of the Department of Health, the president of the Hospital of Traditional Chinese Medicine, and the presidents of 3 top hospitals accompanied him. Although they are also experts from the famous Hoyan Hospital, can they compare with others? Mr. Wang was greeted respectfully one by one. Special experts and doctors accompanied him personally and began various inspections. Wang Jiaxiang felt that it was a bit of a fuss, as he had constant problems. But the big problem is definitely not that serious, but the cough needs to be cured. I want to live for a few more years. At least you have to pass on all the knowledge you have learned to your students. That is your real skill. Can't just die like this. There is no trace of myself in this world, so I'm so sorry for myself, and I am sorry for Zhang Xiaoxiao so to help himself. From this girl, he saw the courage to face life bravely, the courage to find hope, and the cheerful and optimistic perseverance that seemed to be able to overcome no difficulties. This little girl deserves to learn from herself, and no matter what happens, her original intention remains unchanged. From this point of view, I am not as good as this child. He had heard that the child and her husband had been admitted to college. Although the admission notice has not yet come out, the 2 children are confident that they are from Beijing. If nothing else happens, they will meet soon, but I don't know what this little girl is studying. If you can do military industry, maybe you can pave the way for her. This girl is smart and studious, and she may actually be a talent in this field, but it's hard for anyone to say what the couple will choose. He just thought about how surprised he would be if he saw that girl Zhang Xiaoxiao again in this place. I guess this girl never expected that he would come back to Beijing. And he is from Jingjingbei. Without saying anything, after various examinations in the hospital, the expert took all the film reports and read them for a long time. Wang Jiaxiang took a look at it himself and felt that the doctor's expression was unpredictable. Could it be that he had some serious disease? But it's not surprising. After so many years of torture, there is something wrong with this body. That's not normal. Who of the people who lived through that era didn't have anything wrong with them? Several students around him were already nervous. What's going on, Lao Huang, you're talking. Li Yaozong was very anxious there. Song Huilin hurriedly held him down and winked at his old classmate. His teacher was still here. If the teacher really had something, he would say it in front of the teacher. That doesn't irritate the teacher. They are doctors, don't they know this common sense? Li Yaozong received this look and immediately understood that he was a little too impatient and had not thought about something clearly. Teacher, let's help you out first, and you can rest outside for a while. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 325. Chapter 325. That's right. Okay, what do I do? I still don't understand these things. Okay, if you have anything to do with Dr. Huang, just tell me. I'm the client and I don't have any relatives. Don't worry, my old man has experienced a lot. Yes, even if I die tomorrow, I can withstand this kind of blow. If you have anything to say, Just say it and don't hide it. Wang Jiaxiang waved his hand. He had seen this kind of thing too many times. Why couldn't he accept it when it happened to him? He is a lonely old man with no worries, so what if he does? It was just a pity that he could not impart all the knowledge he had learned to his students. Apart from this, he had no regrets. Dr. Huang shook his head, with a smile on his face. Mr. Wang, it's not what you think. Let me tell you the truth, your various examinations have come out. There is nothing wrong with you at all, and all physical indicators are very normal. With your current physical indicators, it's okay to live for 50 or 60 years. When Li Yaozong heard this, a smile appeared on his face, but then he became suspicious. Maybe Lao Huang was afraid that what he said would really shock the old man, so he deliberately said something nice. The old man must have suffered a lot in the outside world these years, not to mention that he is so old. How can he not have any problems and still have all the physical indicators to live for another 50 or 60 years? Who are you kidding? Don't say he thinks so, even Wang Jiaxiang thinks so. Xiao Huang, really, tell me what's wrong with me. At such an old age, I have long been indifferent to life and death. If you didn't tell me, it would make me feel uneasy. I might not even be able to sleep when I go back. Good. Mr. Wang, let me tell you the truth, your body is really great. This is also the reason why I didn't say anything just now. To put it bluntly, you must have suffered so much outside for so many years. You must be much worse. There are rarely many faults, even if there are no major faults, there are always some minor faults. But take a look at all your inspection reports. I won't hide it from you. You can see these reports clearly yourself. Who can I deceive even if I deceive you? There is really nothing wrong with your body at all. Dr. Huang was really unjust. He really didn't hide it. He told the truth. No one believed it, not even the patient himself. Handed all the report sheets in his hand to Wang Jiaxiang. Mr. Wang read all the reports with suspicion, and the more he looked at them, the stranger they became. Although he didn't believe people who said he had no physical problems at all, he was aware of the problems he had. Originally there were a lot of them. Or else he didn't believe what Dr. Huang said just now. He didn't know what was wrong with him, but people actually said that there was nothing wrong with him. Now that he saw this report, he really believed it, but it was even more strange. Are you sure there's nothing wrong with my body? Isn't there a mistake in the test report? Had it not been for the dean of the military academy in front of him, Dr. Huang could have pointed at his nose and sprayed him. They actually said that the test report from Hoyan Hospital was wrong. This is not to ruin their reputation. But he couldn't afford to offend the big boss in front of him, so he could only give an aggrieved explanation. Mr. Wang, this laboratory report must not be wrong. I use the reputation of my career as a doctor to assure you that it is 100% correct. If you don't believe me, let the doctor continue to check you again. If there are two reports, if there is any deviation, I will give you my head as a ball. Li Yaozong and Song Huilin realized at this moment that what Lao Huang said was true. He was not joking or hiding anything. Is there something wrong with the teacher? If not, I will take you back to our hospital for examination. Don't worry, I will examine you personally. I guarantee that nothing will go wrong. Li Yaozong looked at the old man worriedly. He didn't know what the old man was thinking. That's not necessary, but Xiao Huang, you'd better give me another examination. I want to see if the results of the two examinations are exactly the same. Dr. Huang had no choice but to push the old man, accompanied by these students, and did another inspection himself. It was already dark after all the inspections were completed. Wang Jiaxiang took his own examination report. The two reports were exactly the same, proving that there was absolutely nothing wrong with his body. Even if he made mistakes, they would not be the same every time. Wait until the second day, the third day, the fourth day. The old man asked his students to take him with him, and he went to a hospital for a physical examination almost every day. A week later, 8 identical physical examination reports were placed in front of him. The data are completely consistent. Although there are slight deviations, they have little impact. It may have some objective influence on the diet of the day or whether you had a good rest. Generally speaking, the conclusion is the same. He is in good health and has no problems at all, not even minor problems. Wang Jiaxiang stayed there for a long time. He thought about it and could only attribute it to Zhang Xiaoxiu's peach wine. Didn't the little girl say that her peach wine was soaked in special medicinal materials, and it was a secret recipe passed down from ancestors? It is said that it was a secret recipe from hundreds of years ago. Sitting there alone, I couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that I was really a blessing in disguise. This little girl was really the noble person in my life. Even he himself can feel his old problems. Rheumatoid arthritis has never happened. You know what the weather is like now. The Chinese New Year is about to come. In this cold weather, these problems on his body are not at all. None of them were guilty. In previous years, when winter came, I would almost die from coughing, but now I don't have any cough at all. He thought that after returning to Beijing this year, his living conditions had improved and the house was very warm, so this old problem would be cured. Who knows? Now that he thinks about it, he thinks it may have something to do with Zhang Xiaoxiao. This girl is really a blessed person. Every time I meet someone, there are always some unexpected benefits. Lao Kang looked at his old friend there, sometimes smiling, sometimes feeling worried. I really can't hold it back. Old Wang, what's the matter with you? Just say you look scary. Why are you scaring me? I'm telling you, you think I've met a noble person. How can you be so noble when you meet a noble person? You don't know that before I met you, I actually had a lot of old problems. At that time, I felt that I wouldn't live for a few years, so I wanted to leave what I had learned to my students so that they would not follow me into the grave in the future. Who knows, I met a little girl. This girl is kind-hearted and has helped me before. This time we experienced the catastrophe together again. Originally, this girl was very thoughtful and wanted to take me back to northern Beijing to support me in their home. I was wandering outside in the province, but who knew that I ran away by myself? Before leaving, this girl gave me a drink of their ancestral medicinal wine, which resulted in a physical examination. To my surprise, none of my old problems were gone. Tell me, what is it that isn't a blessing in disguise for me? Lao Kang became interested upon hearing this. Old Wang, you can't hide your secrets. We are old friends. I have more old problems than you, but not less. It's not like you don't know that I have been injured in my early years. My lumbar vertebrae, spine, and internal organs have all been injured. It's winter. I can hardly think about going out. If it weren't for you this time, I would be able to run around like this and lie down and rest at home. If there is such a good thing, of course you have to introduce it to our old friends, right? Mr. Wang shook his head. This girl, I know she is from northern Beijing, her name is Zhang Xiaoxiao. I really don't know the other home addresses, but you can check it out. I heard that she and her husband Song Mo, everyone in the family is an educated youth taking the college entrance examination this year. You can check the college entrance examination list, maybe you can find their 2 addresses. In this case, I can be a favor and get the medicinal wine back for you. Otherwise, I won't be able to do that. Who is Lao Kang? He has a lot of power in his hands. That is also the person who stomped his feet and shook 3 places in Beijing. If Lao Kang really helps a bunch of Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others, even if it is investigated and it is revealed that Lao Kang treats them differently, I am afraid that the people below will treat the 2 of them differently. It's not like the old man really couldn't find Zhang Xiaoxiao. Even if he didn't know Zhang Xiaoxiu's home in Beijing, couldn't he still find Zhang Yu? In fact, it was just to pave the way for Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 326. Chapter 326 Arriving Home. Zhang Xiaoxiao, Song Moding, and Bai Yiyi had just arrived in northern Beijing. Zhang Xiaoxiao held Bai Yiyi, while Song Moding held the luggage. Other than buying some dry goods, the two people actually didn't pack much in their bags. Basically all their checked luggage was scrapped by the tractor in the mountains. So the two of us really didn't have much to do this time. As soon as I stepped out of the platform, I saw my mother and father. Fan Jiuying and Zhang Lishi had been waiting there for a long time. When they saw them coming out, they waved hurriedly and happily. Seeing her daughter, Fan Jiuying's eyes flashed with doubts. Why has this girl lost weight recently? When I left, I obviously gained a few taels of meat. What happened? How long had I been gone? How could this girl be so thin? Looked at his son-in-law with some dissatisfaction. The son-in-law promised to take good care of Xiao Xiao. This is taking good care of yourself? Etc. The son-in-law has also lost weight. I couldn't help but feel a little distressed in my heart. Could it be that these two studied day and night for the exam and put them through this? It doesn't seem to be possible. I have to make up for two people when I go back. How can it be possible like this? My daughter is already thin. If she doesn't eat more and stay strong, how will she be able to have children in the future? Fan Jiuying still hopes to have a grandson. When Fan Jiuying glanced at the girl next to Zhang Xiaoxiao, she was shocked. Why she brought a child back? This child looks to be 4 or 5 years old, and he is not a child. Whose child can I bring back? Zhang Xiaoxiao pulled Bai Yiyi to Fan Jiuying. As soon as he saw Fan Jiuying, he gave her a bear hug. Mom, I miss you so much. She really misses her mother, and that is something she will never ignore. Fan Jiuying's words were all broken up by her daughter's words. She missed me so much that she couldn't even bother to ask this or that. Holding my daughter in my arms, my eyes filled with tears. You girl, Mom misses you too. Go. Go home. Mom has to give you some food when she gets back. Look at how thin you and your son-in-law are now. You can't ignore your body in order to study. Ah. That was when I looked left and right, my eyes full of reluctance and heartache. Mr. Zhang couldn't stand it anymore. Although he also felt sorry for his daughter, there were people coming and going outside the station. 4 adults and 1 child were standing here, talking like this, and hurriedly reminded themselves of their daughter-in-law. Okay, the children have been tired for so long, let's go home first and talk about it later. Fan Jiuying hurriedly pulled her daughter back and walked back. Zhang Xiaoxiao took Bai Yiyi and introduced her to Fan Jiuying. Mom, this is Yiyi. Logically speaking, she has to call me sister. According to the agreement between her and Song Moding, she quietly told her mother that Bai Yiyi was the child of a relative of the Song family. The relative she took care of passed away, leaving the child alone. They brought the child back and sent it to the old lady in 2 days. When Fan Jiuying heard this, she felt pity for the child. This child is so pitiful. All his family members have passed away, leaving him alone. Thanks to his distant relatives who are still willing to help, what else would this child do alone? This child is quite handsome when he is young, and his big, watery eyes look a bit like his own daughter. Yiyi, you girl, don't be polite to auntie. Since Xiao Xiao is your sister, then you can go home with me like my daughter. Auntie will prepare delicious food for you. That affectionate energy really treated Bai Yiyi as her own daughter. After all, his daughter has grown up, while Bai Yi is still young. Besides, she is still a relative of the Song family, so Fan Qiuying loves Wu Jiwu and is very friendly to Bai Yi. Bai Yi pulled Fan Qiuying, feeling warm in her heart. The little lady's mother is a good person. Honest to myself, I don't dislike myself for being a drag at all. They walked out of the platform and saw a van parked in the distance. Zhang Xiaoxiao was startled. Their family also bought a minivan. What kind of wealth has this made? It seems that the little money they have is not enough to buy a minivan. It has never been so easy to buy a minivan in the past 7 years or so. Ding ding ding, Xiao Xiao, look who it is. Before they could get close to the car and jump out of the car, a man opened his arms and had a hearty smile on his face. Zhang Xiaoxiao laughed and ran over. Brother, why are you here? You don't go to work today. My brother Zhang Lei has really changed a lot now. The facial features are long and open, the face becomes more calm and restrained, the whole person is cheerful and lively, and the eyes become strong and resolute. At this moment, when I saw my sister, her eyes were filled with adoration. He picked up his sister, lifted her up high and spun her around in a circle. You come back today. If I don't come to pick you up, will you be in the mood to go to work? If you don't catch up with your wedding and your sister comes home, will I still be a human being if I don't catch up? By the way, this is my brother-in-law. You okay? I'm Zhang Lei, Zhang Xiaoxiao's biological eldest brother. Zhang Xiaoxiao pursed his lips and smiled. Ever since he knew that Zhang Xiaoxiao was not a child of their Zhang family, Zhang Lei always talked about being his eldest brother, as if this could prove that they were related. Song Moding looked at his brother-in-law, smiled and stretched out his hand. Brother, I am Song Moding, you call me Xiao Song. I am Zhang Xiaoxiao's biological husband. Zhang Lei and Song Moding laughed. Zhang Xiaoxiao was speechless. Song Moding actually did the same thing as his elder brother. The two of them were really childish. Hurry up and get in the car, I'll take you back. I bought this car myself. I usually do some personal work and haul goods. Zhang Lei opened the car door. In this era, it is a big deal to buy a private car. You can do it, brother, you can actually afford a car yourself. It seems like you make a lot of money from work. Zhang Xiaoxiao patted his elder brother on the shoulder. Zhang Lei smiled. Xiaoxiao, it's great to have you back. Our parents started preparing for you more than 10 days ago, and the house is so clean. I wish I could clean the house 3 times a day, and keep talking about how you like to eat this, how you like it, all day long. Eat that and urge me to get it back from my uncle. You don't know, Grandma and Grandpa, your uncle has been looking forward to you all day long. Your uncle has almost piled up the house, buying all the things you like to eat. Zhang Lei started the car. Zhang Xiaoxiao sat in the back seat with Bai Yi in his arms. Mom and Dad, how are your health? I haven't seen my grandma and grandpa for such a long time and I really miss them. Your grandma and grandpa are in good health. If your uncle and aunt hadn't come to the city to harass you from time to time, I think your grandma and grandpa would have had a better life. The only thing they are worried about now is when your uncle will get married. Forcing your uncle to go on blind dates all day long. Fan Qiuying was happy when she thought of Fan Jiangguo's eagerness to jump. I am also happy when I mentioned the old man. Her mother had been sick before, and she was worried about the health of the 2 elderly people. However, she did not expect that the elderly people's health has been getting better and better in the past 2 years, and there are no minor problems. If it weren't for the fact that his eldest brother made trouble from time to time, the old man's life would actually be pretty good. Of course, she is also worried about her brother's marriage. Her brother is very picky. Dislikes everyone. I don't know what kind of angel I want to find back. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 327. Chapter 327, Getting to the Point. As soon as Zhang Xiaoxiao arrived at the door of his home, he saw his grandma, grandpa and uncle already at the door. They heard the sound of a car in the yard. This sound was so familiar that they heard it every day. There is a car parked in front of their house in this alley. So you don't need to guess, it must be Zhang Lei and the others who brought the person back. As soon as the two old men saw Zhang Xiaoxiao, they grabbed their child and looked him up and down, with tears in their eyes. You girl really misses grandma. Come back, come back. This year is our reunion year. Look how thin you are like this. Go inside and ask your mother to prepare something delicious for you. These two God must make you fat, how can our girl not be fat? Grandma held her little girl's hand tightly and looked up and down. She couldn't see enough. Zhang Xiaoxiao squeezed her grandma's hand. Grandma, let's go in. Don't worry, how can I lose weight with you and my mother here? Besides, I'm not thin either, but I just eat and don't gain weight. In fact, I didn't eat much at all. Waiting for me to eat, you will know how much I eat. I guarantee you will be shocked. The family entered the house, and Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the familiar home. That feeling is really comfortable, this is my own home. Mom, please don't drag Xiaoxiao. Let her wash her face and rest first. I'll give them a quick meal. Then I went to the bathhouse to take a bath, came back, changed my clothes, and had a good sleep at night. Tomorrow you will, if you talk to her again, she won't be able to run away. Fan Jiuying and the others have taken the train. The train journey takes several days and nights, and people are almost falling apart when they come back. Even though this child was young, he was still very tired. He felt very distressed, so Zhang Luo quickly let the children rest. Grandma nodded, you're right, you're right. Go and cook for them first. Zhang Lei can quickly get water for your sister to wash her face. Zhang Lei agreed. Xiaoxiao, you see, before you were not at home, I was the only treasure in this family. Grandma was very rare when she saw me. But now it's better. As soon as I saw you, I immediately became grass. See or not, I have become your long-term worker. Alas, this adopted sister is really bad. Stealing my favor and my status. Oh my God, if you gave birth to me, Zhang Lei, why would you give birth to Zhang Xiaoxiao? Isn't this bullying? Zhang Xiaoxiao was proud. Brother, please stop talking like that. I still don't know you. Hurry up and get some water. I want to wash my face and take care of my sister. Zhang Lei was obviously sighing, but it was a pity that his smiling face couldn't hide his inner love. Running to get water for my sister. Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding washed their faces, and Grandma and Grandpa had already pulled Song Moding over. This is the grandson-in-law. They did not attend the wedding. When they came back, they heard that the daughter-in-law went to the farm, and the little granddaughter actually got married. The two of them were so angry that they couldn't count their daughter and son-in-law enough, and now they finally saw the real person. Of course he kept asking questions here and there, wanting to turn this grandson-in-law upside down. But it was obvious that the two old men were quite satisfied with their grandson-in-law. Fan Jiuying brought in a table of dishes. They are all Zhang Xiaoxiao's favorite food: braised pork, tomato, yam, and pork ribs. To be able to find tomatoes on such a cold day is really thanks to my uncle. Fan Jianxi stood beside him, looking at his niece and smiling without saying a word. Zhang Xiaoxiao also discovered that his uncle has changed now, and his aura has become very strong. At first glance, this is a sign of getting promoted and making a fortune. Uncle, should I call you Director Fan now, or something else? Zhang Xiaoxiao joke. The last time I left, my uncle had already become the director. He should have taken a step forward in recent years. Fan Jianxi sighed. Oh, stop talking. Your uncle and I will soon be out of work. The bosses are suppressing me and won't let me get ahead, so I will be the director to the end. And they are always looking for trouble from me. The problem is, that's nitpicking. They take credit for my work when they do well, and blame it all on me when they make mistakes when they do poorly. This is a sad life, I'm thinking about it recently. At this rate, it's really better to go home and farm and suffer this anger. Fan Jianxi was really angry. Ever since he offended his superiors, he was really having a hard time. Zhang Xiaoxiao was surprised. The dry goods you brought back last time, including wood, should have been appreciated by the leaders above. Even the superior above you may not be able to suppress you. Stop talking, I have no one above me, and I have a big backer above me, so they always find fault with me, and no one else can speak for me. Recently, my life has been really uncomfortable. Mainly because I feel uncomfortable, so I don't want to do it lately. Fan Jianxi was really aggrieved. Oh, by the way, uncle, I heard that there is a policy from above, and we will immediately prepare for reform and opening up. Once reform and opening up, business must be liberalized. If you are really not happy working there, just go out and do it alone. Although the policy has not been officially implemented yet, you can first use the name of the collective. I heard that many people now contract for collective stores, or contract for one of the collective stores. Then how much money do you pay to the collective every year? The rest is up to you. It's better than having a leader above you who specifically finds fault with you. Maybe you can do something great yourself. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't expect that his uncle would be suppressed so hard. Fan Jianxi was stunned. Do it yourself? He said this when he was angry, but he really never thought about giving up his iron job and doing it himself. However, the road his niece mentioned is indeed a road. He has also heard that there are many collective stores down there that are contracted to their employees or salespersons. Whoever has the ability can do it. Anyway, the collective only collects rent. You have handed over the money, and what you can do with the rest is up to you. He has been a sales director for so many years. If you have your own connections in this, you can do it yourself if you go out and do the contracting. There is definitely no need to worry about purchasing. The purchasing channels are definitely leveraged. Yes, why not do it yourself? I couldn't help but look at this girl. Oh, this niece is so awesome, she is such a cultured person and she can tell the key to the problem with just one mouth. I told my parents, my sister, and my brother-in-law, just a few words back and forth, urging myself to endure it, to give in, and to get by. Take a step back, the sea and the sky are brighter, and endure the calm for a while. Look at the niece who solved the fundamental problem in just one sentence. This is called getting to the point. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 328. Chapter 328 Attack. That night, Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others slept in Zhang Xiaoxiao's original room. This house was also briefly tidied up by Fan Jiuying and others. The original single bed has now been replaced by a large double bed, and everything in the wardrobe is neatly tidied. At first glance, it was prepared for the young couple. Bai Yi ran directly to sleep with Fan Jiuying. Fan Jiuying was jealous of this girl. Since Bai Yi came into the house, Fan Jiuying gave the girl a bath, washed her hair, changed clothes, and prepared food, but nothing was left behind. So Bai Yi is kissing Fan Jiuying now. Zhang Xiaoxiao woke up early in the morning. It feels comfortable to fall asleep in your own home. It feels like a long-lost sense of belonging. When I get home, I don't even have a dream at night. This feeling made her feel that she could never leave here for the rest of her life. Song Moding watched his daughter-in-law looking out the window with her big eyes open and enjoying herself. Kiss Zhang Xiaoxiao, you can sleep a little longer. I'll get up and help my parents clean up the yard later. We'll go out to buy some things. We too have to go see Grandma. Before leaving, Grandpa called Grandma. Yes, Grandma knows that we two are coming back, but she should be anxious to go over there. Zhang Xiaoxiao nodded. I'm not going to sleep anymore. I'm going to get up too. I really have to go see Grandma today. By the way, judging by the time, our admission notice might have arrived. Wait a moment, call Hyeguo and the others and ask about the situation. The admission notice will be returned directly to the county, and the county will distribute it to various farms. The two of them returned to Beijing. Hyeguo had made it clear that as long as he got the admission notice, he would help them take them back to Beijing. After all, Hyeguo also had to go home, but Hyeguo returned to Beijing together after getting the admission notices for himself and Jiashu. After all, when they applied for their volunteers, everyone applied for Beijing. Jiashu is also applying for a normal university and will definitely not go back to her home. Since it is a convenient way, Hyeguo wants to come with Jiashu so that Jiashu can settle down. Song Moding nodded, I know. Get up, put on your clothes, and go out to help. Zhang Lishi was chopping firewood in the yard. Song Moding took it directly. He was young and strong, and he was very familiar with chopping firewood. Zhang Xiaoxiao stayed on the bed for a long time before getting up. At breakfast, I ate the meatball soup and pancakes made by Fan Xiuying, which warmed my whole body. As soon as Fan Xiuying heard that Zhang Xiaoxiao was going to see MRS Song, she got busy. Always prepare some door-to-door gifts for your daughter. You can't just go to your husband's house for the first time empty-handed and bring nothing. He hurriedly went out to prepare gifts for Zhang Xiaoxiao, but Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't stop him. Bai Yi had followed Fan Xiuying out a long time ago. Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled. Not to mention, this child is really destined to their family, and he is really so close to their family. While I was smiling, someone came. Ouch, Xiaoxiao, you're back. Your mother and father didn't say anything. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at her grandma, but she hadn't seen the old lady's silver hair in 2 years, and her back was stooped. However, she looked very friendly when he saw her, and she was followed by her uncle and aunt. Zhang Lokeng didn't say a word when he saw Zhang Xiaoxiao. His son was sentenced to 1 year because of Zhang Xiaoxiao's initial indifference. It was recorded in the file that he couldn't even find a job after he came out. The couple now hate Zhang Xiaoxiao. Originally, Zhang Xiaoxiao was not at home, so they didn't say anything. They thought that Zhang Xiaoxiao would go to the countryside anyway and would never come back. Who would have thought that today I would actually come in and see Zhang Xiaoxiao again? This haunting figure actually returned to their home again. Feng Guihua immediately fell out. Zhang Xiaoxiao, do you still have the nerve to enter our house? Zhang Xiaoxiao ignored Feng Guihua and smiled and took care of her grandma. Grandma, you are here. I have just come back. I have only been back for a day. Please sit in your room. Dad, my grandma is here. Ignoring Zhang Lokeng and Feng Guihua, he helped the old lady into the house. Grandma looked at her son and daughter-in-law and sighed, Xiaoxiao, ignore your uncle and your aunt. When did you come back? You kid looks much thinner. I heard your mother said you were married. I think I came back from leave this time. How long can I stay? Can I celebrate the new year here? The old lady is not bad. According to the trajectory of her previous life, the old lady's mouth looks rather mean. But in fact, the old lady knew what was going on in the end. As for the old lady's money, Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't care about anything about the old lady. After all, this grandma has a good heart. Grandma, we took leave this time to celebrate the new year. This year our family can be reunited. By the way, Grandma, I also brought you some good things. I produce a lot of ginseng in my space, but I can't just take out those ginseng. Because every ginseng taken out is hundreds or even hundreds of years old, it is too scary to take out. But their farm harvested so many ginseng at that time, there would always be a few left. At least, each of them, the educated youths, left a few ginsengs for their families. After all, those ginsengs were of a younger age and were much longer than those on the market. This is a good thing, especially for the elderly, so Zhang Xiaoxiao also kept a few. Just in case there are such entertainment and favors. Xiaoxiao, Grandma, what else do I need to buy from you? You don't need to take anything. You are going all the way to the countryside, and you are not going to enjoy happiness. The old lady grabbed her and wouldn't let go. Humph, in that poor place, you can only show off what good things you can bring out. Feng Gihua sneered. She hates Zhang Xiaoxiao. Isn't it because of Zhang Xiaoxiao that she suffered such a serious crime? Can you shut up, sir? The old lady is not happy anymore. What do you mean? This is not a good look on yourself. And why did they come to your door today? Come and ask for help. How can anyone come to someone's door to show their face? Feng Gihua, just shut up. Zhang Lishi came in this time. When I saw my mother, I was very happy. Seeing my eldest brother and sister-in-law, I was a little unhappy. What's the matter, Mom? Just ask your eldest brother to call me. I'll just run over. It's cold out here all the way, and the ground is not slippery when you walk on it. Why do you want to go all the way? Brother, you are too. Zhang Lokeng felt angry after being scolded by his younger brother. What's the matter? You look down on your elder brother now, don't you? Are you qualified to criticize me at any time? Zhang Lishi was startled. What's going on? Brother, what's wrong with you? Boss, what do you want to do? I'm not dead yet. What do you call your brother? Did your brother say it wrong? The old lady scolded her eldest son, feeling very sad. My eldest son is spoiled by me. How can anyone do something like this? You came to beg someone else, but you actually went to someone else's house to show off your pomp, show off your power, and act like a big brother. What's wrong with the eldest brother? You are the eldest brother, and your life is not as good as that of your younger brother. What people fear most is not being able to see clearly where they are. Mom, why do you always talk about me in front of others? Am I your son? You usually always say this is good to me, that's good in front of me. If he is good, then why do you live with me? Why don't you live with your good son? We are not the only ones who serve you on weekdays. This is not an obvious way of bullying. Zhang Laosheng is very angry. People in the older generation have always insisted that their parents live with their eldest son. Of course, his parents do favor him, so he always feels that his parents have nothing to do with him, and they can still subsidize them. But since this younger brother retired, the situation in the family has become increasingly different, and I am now more and more partial to my younger brother. Moreover, they no longer take those things from their younger brothers and subsidize them. Instead, as my mother gets older and becomes sick today and uncomfortable tomorrow, the couple has more things to do. His heart has been unbalanced for a long time, and today he almost took the opportunity to shout out what was in his heart. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 329. Chapter 329, Touching the Reverse Scale. What do you mean? Do you dislike me as an old woman? The old lady is on fire. The boss is getting more and more clueless now and doesn't think about them at all. They are so biased that they don't even notice it. Now I am challenging myself here. This is my son who feels so dear to my heart. It is said that a loving mother often loses her sons, and it is true. The old lady had an angry look on her face. Zhang Lokeng finally came to his senses when he saw the anger on his face. What are you here for today? Why is my head so hot? Feng Gihua hurriedly laughed with him. Mom, he's full, so don't pay attention to him, let's get down to business, let's get down to business. Twisted around, he squeezed Zhang Xiaoxiao away and sat down next to the old lady. The old lady looked at her son and daughter-in-law and felt deeply helpless. She was still alive and could still help them, but she couldn't survive her whole life. Second brother, my mother, your brother, and your sister-in-law came here today because they have something to ask you. After all, the two of them are also brothers, and there is really nothing I can do about it. If the eldest brother can stand up like the second son, I still don't have to worry so much. Zhang said honestly. Over the years, he has become accustomed to it. Every time his mother comes here, she always helps her brother and sister-in-law to find him for help. Either borrowing money or doing something. Although he is impatient with this kind of partiality in his heart, he can't help it, this is his mother. I just hope that his eldest brother will have a clearer mind and be nicer to my mother. Mom, what are you talking about? What's the matter? Brother, please speak up yourself. Don't let my mother run away every time. How old is my mother who is so far away? What's the matter? You can't come over and tell me by yourself. Do you have to take me on such a trip? Zhang Lishi really can't stand it. My mother is not young. Even at such an old age, she still has to run for her eldest brother every time. My eldest brother is not ashamed. A young man, the second child of the family, is married, the grandson hugs, and every time he runs to his brother, he runs with his younger brother. Speaking of it, he would be embarrassed for this elder brother. I can't complain that my daughter-in-law can't see her eldest brother and sister-in-law. Who can treat her like this? Zhang Lokeng blushed. When an elder brother was scolded by his younger brother, even in a family like theirs, sometimes he felt very angry. But there is really no way, his son has no future. Who can let my brother find a good father-in-law? The mother-in-law gave birth to several children, among whom her brother-in-law was the most capable. There is nothing we can do about it. If he had such a brother-in-law, he would still have to run around here all day long. Second brother, I don't beg you, there is really nothing I can do. In fact, this matter is also related to your family. Zhang Lishi was confused when he heard what he said. It had something to do with them. It has something to do with our family, so tell me, what is it? It's not that you don't know Xiang's situation, because your little boy was imprisoned. After being imprisoned for a year, he was released, and there was no way for him to be given a job on the streets. He was just idle at home all day long, and he wouldn't be a good person if he continued like this. Method. You also know that he is still 27 years old. If he doesn't have a job, he may even have trouble finding a wife. I heard that your brother-in-law's department store is hiring. Just talk to your brother-in-law and arrange for Xiang to come in. Otherwise, what should you do if you talk to your eldest nephew? It's not all your family's fault, Zhang Xiaoxiao. He gave Zhang Xiaoxiao a hard look. Zhang Xiaoxiao was very happy. Uncle, what do you mean by that? I hurt him? Did I let him go and steal with others? Or did you say I let him make friends with those bad friends? I made a mistake, and I don't admit it. Instead, blame it on others. Who is to blame for his idleness? There are so many people on the street, and there is always something to do, but there is nothing there. My mother is now retired at home, and she has to take cartons from the match factory every day to paste paper boxes. Even a retired person like my mother can find a way to do it. How come your Xiang has nothing to do? It's not his own fault for being idle. If a person wants to find something to live on, there are all kinds of things to do, it just depends on whether he is willing to do it. Zhang Xiaoxiao doesn't take the blame. You said it lightly. This matter does not fall on you. You eat your mother's food and drink your father's food. You will naturally feel at ease. But we, Xiang, were not harmed because of you. If you hadn't promised to give your eldest brother goes to the countryside. Your parents can hold on to our Xiong and never let go. Some of the serious thieves who were arrested with him were bailed out. The result was not good. When we arrived at Xiong's home, a lookout was actually sentenced to 1 year. Tell me, isn't this all the fault of your biological parents? Tell me, you are not a person named Zhang. What are you doing here? Go back to your Fang family and stay less with our Zhang family. Mix here. Feng Gihua pointed at Zhang Xiaoxiu's nose and shouted angrily. Stretched out one hand and slapped her hand off. Feng Gihua shivered in pain. Only then did I realize that it was my brother-in-law who did it. What are you doing? Zhang Lishi, how dare you hit me? I am your sister-in-law, and you treat me like this? Zhang Lokeng, are you just watching your brother treat me like this? Mom, please say something. Feng Gihua rubbed his hands and yelled angrily at a room full of people. Zhang Lishi clapped his hands. Brother, Mom, what do you want to say? Let me tell you, sister-in-law, I call you sister-in-law because you are married to my eldest brother, but that doesn't mean you can point fingers at my daughter. If you want to be arrogant and powerful, if you want to be your elder, go back to your home and stop showing off your elder's power to us. My daughter is my daughter, not a tool for you to use in exchange for benefits, and we don't owe you anything. Brother, discipline your son well and don't always think that you can get something without giving. In the past, it was because I felt sorry for my mother and couldn't bear to make her sad, but now I feel that I did something wrong and encouraged your and your sister-in-law's ambitions. So, brother, sister-in-law, if we can interact with you as relatives in the future, I welcome you. If you still want to use our mother as a shield and ask me to do things for you, forget it. It's better not to interact with each other. Zhang Lishi stood in front of Zhang Xiaoxiao and finished these words categorically. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at his father's tall but slightly stooped back, and his heart was filled with happiness and love. This is her father, her relative. No matter how many lifetimes, it never changes. My love and affection for her have never changed from beginning to end. Zhang Lokeng and Feng Gihua were dumbfounded. Zhang Lishi had always given them everything they wanted, but now he suddenly became so tough. It was hard for both of them to believe it. The old lady sighed. She knew that sooner or later the eldest brother would exhaust the second brother's love for him as a brother. Knowing that Zhang Xiaoxiao was a child of the second child, he had to touch their inverse scales, just looking for death. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 330. Chapter 330 Getting Sick. Second brother, you are so heartless. You don't even care about your nephew. Mom, don't say a word. Zhang Lokeng yelled at the old lady. The only one who can suppress Zhang Lishi now is his mother. Lao Er. The old lady opened her mouth and shouted, then closed her mouth. What else can I say? Let everything go to the eldest brother, and the second eldest brother owes nothing to the eldest son. At my age, I can still say such shameless words, but I can't continue to say them. When I was young, I felt that they were all my sons, so it didn't matter. There was no overnight feud between mother and son. After all, he is still his son. But things are different when you get older. The old lady seems to have a lot of faith in cause and effect in the past 2 years. I also feel that I should change my bias. Especially after her grandson's accident, the old lady actually reflected on her. Still doting on the children and grandchildren too much. Doting on them is not a good thing. Look at the virtues of the grandchildren now. Compare again with the children of the second child's family. Although the grandson of the second family looks cheerful all day long, as if he is out of shape, he is still down to earth. Look at him taking over from his father and working conscientiously on the team. I heard that I was rated as an advanced individual last year and even bought a car myself. If you do this to this child, will you be able to do anything wrong in the future? But what about the grandson of the old man? Although it is true that no one wants to see him after he comes out of prison, there is definitely no job arrangement in this street. But you have to do something yourself, just like in Zhang Xiaoxiu's novel. Even if he is just making paper boxes in a match factory, he can still make money, but this kid, who is neither high nor low, has high vision but low hand, and is unwilling to do anything. The couple now have this idea again. Obviously I came here to ask for help, but I still had the same attitude after I came to the door, and I was not willing to take care of the old lady. What my second brother said is right. The second child doesn't owe anything to the eldest child. Zhang Lishi felt comforted when he saw that his mother did not stand by his eldest brother for the first time. He knew that his filial piety in the past was a bit foolish. To put it bluntly, listening to everything was not necessarily right. But he really didn't want to make his mother angry. His mother had a heart disease. If she was really angry and something happened, he would feel bad about it. So he would give in if he could get by, and get by if he could get by. Although he and his wife were a little wronged, he would give in as long as he could get by. But it was different now. The children were all grown up and it was time to start a family. Start a family. Only their own sons are left, and none of them has yet to marry a daughter-in-law. If they marry a daughter-in-law in the future, is it possible that they will have to give up their son, daughter-in-law, and son-in-law? What is it like? If a person is as old as his elder brother, his son will also have a daughter-in-law. Even coming to his brother's place to cause trouble, this kind of thing cannot be allowed to happen again. Mom, you, second child, you can do it. Mom is only partial to you now. Okay, Mom, just pretend that you don't have me as your son. Let's go. Zhang Loken has been spoiled by his mother over the years, so he still has a bad temper. The old lady felt pain in her heart and wanted to hold her son. After all, she has a big child in her hand, and she has given a lot to this child over the years. Of course, it is a bit intolerable for her son to lose his temper with her now. Unexpectedly, the boss walked in a hurry, and he was not prepared for his mother's appearance. After this, the old lady was not as big as Zhang Loken, and she was suddenly led by her son and fell to the ground. The old lady covered her chest and passed away immediately. This time Zhang Loken was also frightened. Zhang Lishi pushed Zhang Loken away. Xiao Xiao, go call Xiao Song and send your grandma to the hospital quickly. Zhang Xiao came forward early and felt the pulse and knew that the old lady had a heart attack. Song Moding has been here a long time ago. He stayed outside the courtyard and did not come in because he was afraid that his father-in-law would be embarrassed. After all, every family in this family has scriptures that are difficult to recite. The father-in-law may feel that his face has been lost if his son-in-law heard about this. When I heard something happened, I rushed in quickly. Put the old lady on your back and run away. Zhang Xiao followed behind to protect his grandma, while Zhang Lishi held on to the other side, and the family headed to the hospital. Zhang Loken waited until everyone left and no one was left, and he suddenly realized that if something happened to his mother today, how would he behave in the future? He took his wife with him and rushed to the hospital. 3 people took the old lady to the emergency room. Sure enough, she had a heart attack and was sent directly to the emergency ward. After a simple examination, the doctor came out and told them that the old lady's condition was now more critical and she needed surgery. Zhang Loken was really stupid when he heard this. Having surgery? Then do the surgery. When Zhang Lishi heard this, he immediately became anxious and decided to do the surgery. How can I not save my own mother? The doctor looked at them and said, well, here is the payment slip. You go and pay the operation fee now. The total is 5,000 yuan. We will arrange the operation immediately. If you pay the fee, you can pay it to the doctor immediately. My wife has surgery. The old lady's condition is more dangerous. If she had the surgery earlier, she would be better. Otherwise, I'm afraid the old lady's condition won't last long. You'd better pay the money as soon as possible. Zhang Lokeng shouted in surprise, 5,000. Even if you kill them, you won't be able to get so much money. Feng Gihua was also frightened. This was 5,000 yuan. It cannot be said that the couple has no money at all. They have saved more than 1,000 yuan, but with this money, their son is getting married soon, and the betrothal gift and banquet will cost at least several hundred yuan. Basically nothing is left. Now the old lady wants 5,000 immediately. This is not to force people to death. Zhang Lishi glared, brother, what do you mean? Looking at the ghostly expressions on the faces of his eldest brother and sister-in-law, he felt angry. What happened this time was not just because of his eldest brother and sister-in-law. If they weren't making trouble, how could his mother be like this? These two couples are still here with such expressions. Second brother, it's not like you don't know how much money can your sister-in-law and I have. We have 4 children to raise and we can't save any money at all. How can we come up with 5,000 yuan? Zhang Lokeng is not crying about poverty, it's because he doesn't have it. Zhang Lishi was furious, brother, you have no conscience when you say this. If you can't afford 5,000 yuan, you can always pay half of it. I won't let you pay more. We brothers will each pay half. Originally, according to what happened this time, it was you who made my mother have a heart attack because of her anger, so you should pay all the money. But after all, I am also my mother's son, and I have 2,500 per person. You go back and raise the money yourself. Whether you borrow it, rob it, or steal it, you have to give me the money. I tell you, if you don't get this money, don't blame me as a younger brother for being rude. You know very well what I can do. Feng Gihua wanted to act bad, and asking her to take the money would be even more uncomfortable than killing her. Zhang Lishi turned back to look at his sister-in-law. The eyes were as cold as knives. Sister-in-law, you are making trouble. If you are making trouble, I will go to your factory director's office and sit for a while. If you don't want Xiang and the others to work in the future, just make trouble. The eldest son of the eldest brother's family has already taken over the job, got married, and had children. When the commotion breaks out, they are not the ones who suffer. Feng Gihua shut up. Zhang Lokeng took his wife and left. There is no plan to leave anyone to take care of the old lady. Zhang Lishi watched his eldest brother and sister-in-law leave, feeling disappointed. My mother, what kind of thing did she raise? End of this chapter.